Perfect health depends upon perfect circulation. When our heart is in good condition and the blood vessels are also in good condition, they ensure that blood circulates very well to parts of the body and the waste products that are created or generated in various cellular activities, they are taken away to excretory organs, making our heart and our body to be in good condition. Our heart is like the body's engine, pumping and circulating live blood throughout our body. So each organ functions properly. As such, the health of every other organ in our body depends on our heart health. While we often hear about bad habits we should avoid, we don't always hear about why such practices are bad. Often those habits are bad because they are detrimental to our heart health. Welcome to JB Weekly Podcast. We discuss health for everyday life, pushing back the tide of disease in our world. For health is by choice, not by chance. Top unhealthy heart habits. Number one is smoking. Smoking is one of the most unhealthy heart habits. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, smoking causes approximately 1 out of 4 cardiovascular deaths. Rather, cardiovascular is a medical term that means that stands for the heart and the blood vessels. Cardio stands for heart and vascular stands for the blood vessels. Chemicals in tobacco smoke thicken the blood and inflame blood vessels, constricting them and reducing blood flow. Some of the heart conditions that smoking can lead to include abdominal aortic aneurysm. The aorta is the vessel that carries blood from your heart to the rest of your body. An abdominal aortic aneurysm occurs when aortic walls weaken and bulges form in the part of the aorta located in the abdomen. Okay, so an aneurysm is a bulge, a weakened part in the wall of the aorta. And as a result, it can easily rupture if the blood pressure is very high. Smoking weakens aortic walls, increasing your risk of an abdominal aortic aneurysm, a potentially life-threatening condition. Number two, atherosclerosis. Atherosclerosis occurs when arteries narrow and lose flexibility. This narrowing and flexibility loss usually occurs when plaque builds up inside arteries, which smoking increases. Therefore, atherosclerosis or a buildup of some plaque inside the arteries elevates the chance or the risk for you to have heart attack. Another disease that is aggravated by smoking is coronary artery disease, a plague or a buildup in arteries that supply blood to the heart that causes coronary artery disease, constricting the blood flow to and from the heart. Smoking contributes to this plaque buildup. Another disease is now the peripheral artery disease. Unlike the coronary artery, which supplies the heart, the peripheral artery disease is where the build-up occurs in the arteries other than the arteries that are supplying the heart. Those that receive rather than supply blood to the heart. Okay. Another disease that can occur is stroke. Stroke occurs when your brain doesn't receive enough oxygen-rich blood. Since smoking can decrease blood flow, it can cause a stroke after extended use. Another habit that makes our heart to be weakened is alcohol use. Alcohol use, long-term and excessive alcohol consumption has direct links to various heart conditions, including the one that we have seen, coronary artery disease, where there is a narrowing of the arteries due to a buildup of some plaque or some residue in the blood vessel. And we also talked about peripheral artery disease, stroke. Okay, so those are some of the diseases that can be worsened when we take alcohol, and it's even more risky if it's excessive. Prolonged alcohol consumption weakens our heart muscle, which decreases, which increases the risk of developing heart diseases, as we've seen earlier on. Another habit that makes our heart to be weak is poor diet. Food has a large impact on heart health. It has the power to both strengthen and weaken depending on nutritional value. For example, leafy green vegetables like kale or spinach and other whole foods have tremendous heart benefits. In contrast, processed foods like microwave meals or anything with refined sugar are detrimental to heart health, especially when consumed in large quantities. Besides whole and processed foods, healthy fats and unhealthy fats also impact heart health. Stress, as much as we like to achieve a state of total peace, we sometimes experience stress. Some stress is normal, but severe and chronic stress can negatively impact heart health in several ways. Severe stress affects heart health by hindering our ability to make healthy choices. Okay, some people will some people will make bad choices. Yeah, it's easy to fall back on unhealthy coping mechanisms when you feel stressed. Those coping mechanisms could be poor diet choices, smoking, alcohol use, avoiding physical activity, or other habits that are bad for our heart. Okay. Beyond decreasing motivation, stress also impacts our body. When we stress, the body releases a hormone called cortisol, a hormone that increases blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, and triglycerides in the system. In this way, stress can impair cardiovascular function to varying extents. As we show, cardiovascular means heart and the blood vessels. Little physical activity also tends to create poor or bad heart. The CDC, that is Center for Disease Control, notes that insufficient exercise can lead to heart disease even with no other risk factors. Our bodies are made to move, and the heart functions better with frequent exercise. High salt intake. Excessive sodium consumption worsens high blood pressure, which increases heart failure risk and exacerbates or worsens existing heart disease. The issue with excessive sodium intake is more with processed foods than adding some extra salt to flavor a meal. Inadequate sleep. Poor sleep also impairs heart function. The CDC links insomnia, which is lack of sleep or adequate sleep, with high blood pressure and heart disease. Our blood pressure lowers as we sleep. Thus, if you have insomnia or unhealthy sleep habits, your blood pressure remains high for longer periods than it should. High pressure makes your heart work harder, increasing your heart disease risk. So, these are the tips to break these habits: avoid smoking, abolish alcohol consumption, increase physical activity, aim for 30 minutes of aerobic exercise 5 days a week, and resistance exercise 2 days a week. Prioritize a healthy diet, and of course, develop practices that can reduce stress.